So we all know fat burners have ingredients in them to so-called burn fat, and we'll talk more about that. But this particular fat burner may have an ingredient in it that might help fight against cancer through apoptosis. So stick around. So what's happening, guys? Hope your day's going well. Today we're going to review Demonio by Xtremis Cartel. We're going to go over the ingredients so you know what you put in your body, and we'll go over my personal take on this fat burner here. And just so you guys know, fat burners do not burn fat, but we'll go over this and go over the ingredients because you should know what these ingredients are doing for you and how they are causing you to actually lose weight. So you know best how to take them during the day. And also that special ingredient we'll talk about at the end. So I'm going to put the ingredient profile right in front of me and then we'll jump right into this. So as you can see on the top label, we have a 2 capsule serving or 4 capsule serving, which is going to give you either 50 servings or 25 servings. My personal take on this is 2 capsules is way more than enough. You can step it up to 3, but if you do try this product, stick at the 2 capsules at first and work your way up if you need it, because this boy hits. So jumping right into the other ingredients, we have MitoBurn at a full serving of 500 milligrams. This ingredient helps convert WAT, which is white adipose tissue, the hard to get rid of fat, into BAT, which is brown adipose tissue. So it browns white adipose tissue. When you do that, brown adipose tissue is actually used by the body when you're working out and you're training along your day, and it helps with energy expenditure, a thermogenic response, and it helps with insulin sensitivity as well. So the next 2 ingredients are Puro and Thin Fin. I did do a review on these 2 ingredients. I'll put a card up top if you guys want to go take a look at it. Who am I kidding? If you know my channel, I can't stop giving information. Both of these 2 ingredients have a similar structure to them. They both have what they call a PEA backbone. Puro is Arayogenesis, and Thin Fin is a PEA. This is a phenethylamine. And they both act on what they call the TAR receptors in the brain, which regulate neurotransmission in dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. So these 2 ingredients, both at 350 milligrams on a full dose, are going to give you a sense of well-being, a cognitive function of focus that's insane, and in turn, elevating those effects for a longer period of time, because this also blocks the reabsorption or the reuptake of those neurotransmitters. Next is theobromine at 350 milligrams. So this ingredient is considered similar to caffeine, but it's different. It has some powerful antioxidants to it. And what this does is this actually helps increase eNOS. This is the enzyme NOS that actually increases nitric oxide production in the body to dilate or relax the blood vessels, however you want to look at, for more increased blood flow. And this is not just blood flow for your pumps, this is blood flow for the brain too, because it helps with cognitive function and focus as well. It has diuretic effects to it to help you get rid of some extra water that might be retaining in the body, and it also elevates CAMP and cyclic GMP, which are second messengers. You guys don't need to know that much, but what they do when they're activated, they help release the breakdown of lipids in fat cells for more fat loss, but also energy production as you're training. Then we have InnoSlim at 250 milligrams. This ingredient helps increase the release of a fat-burning hormone called adiponectin, which is responsible for regulating glucose metabolism and fatty acid breakdown. It does this by regulating the master energy regulating switch, AMPK, which leads to ATP production, insulin sensitivity, and fatty acid breakdown. Then we have caffeine anhydrous at 200 milligrams and dicaffeine malate at 200 milligrams. So I'm sure you guys all know what caffeine is, but simply put, this wakes you up. It blocks receptors in the heart and the brain, wakes them up. It also increases neurotransmitters in the brain as well. Moving on. Then we have the healthy hitter, juniper berry extract. So there's been a few studies on this ingredient, so let's jump right into this. This ingredient has been shown to actually stimulate the production of insulin through the pancreatic beta cells, reducing glucose in the blood, as well as increase the levels of AMPK within the body to actually stimulate more fat loss and energy production. But a real cool thing about this ingredient is how it increases apoptosis within the body. But not just the activation, the targeted effect on cancer cells. So here's a study where they came to the conclusion where it directly damaged DNA in cancer cells, but apparently didn't damage healthy cells. So what is apoptosis? So apoptosis is the destruct button that the body pushes to actually eliminate damaged cells within the body. But it does have an orderly process by which the genome in a cell is actually broken down. It goes a little something like this. First, a cell has to be targeted for destruction. And when it is targeted, it's then broken down into small fragments. And then it's gobbled up by neighboring cells to actually clean up the mess. There is a triggering mechanism. So there's actually 2 actions that trigger apoptosis. It's stressors that happen on the outside of the cell and the inside of the cell. So these stressors can happen from multiple different things. They can happen from infections from viruses, poor dietary habits, genetics, drugs that are being prescribed to you that can all affect you on a cellular level. So when we think of apoptosis, it's mainly a checks and balances that the body has to safeguard the body from cancers, tumors, and other things that can actually damage us on a cellular level. And normally when something goes wrong, the mechanisms are triggered, this process starts, and everything's quickly resolved. If this is not taken care of, those damaged cells, if they are not removed and they're near or they float through the bloodstream or in the body and get next to other cells that are healthy, they can actually continue the destruction by damaging those healthy cells. You might ask yourself, how does this actually happen? So one of the main causes of this is the inactivation of proteins within the body, which are basically enzymes. One in particular is called P53. This particular protein actually signals the response to initiate apoptosis to eliminate a cell. Through these stressors that I talked about earlier, it can cause damage to these proteins, stopping them from initiating the response that's needed. Back into the ingredient profile. So now we have halostation at 150 milligrams and synephrine at 80 milligrams. So these two are beta receptor agonists. What I mean by that, when we say agonist, they antagonize the receptor. So it's basically poking the receptor and forcing it to do something that it's not normally used to doing. In this case, it's going to release lipids, but it's also going to increase norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine in the brain as well. And it's going to give a little more energy production along with these other ingredients. Then we have yohimbine, HCl, 3 milligrams, and alpha-yo, 3 milligrams. So these two are alpha receptor agonists, just like the beta receptor agonists. They're poking the alpha receptors, basically telling them or forcing them to do something that they're not normally used to doing. And in turn, what's going to happen is it's going to release lipids into the bloodstream. It's going to spike norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine within the brain, which is going to give you energy production and cognitive function and focus during your workout. Then we're finishing off with bioperinin. And basically, this is 10 milligrams at a full dose. And what this is going to do is this is going to slow the digestion in the intestinal tract, which is going to slow the absorption down, which is going to enhance the absorption as well. So what are the effects on Demonio by Xtremis Cartel? So when I took the 2 pills, every time, it comes in about 20 minutes in. And this thing peaks about 45 minutes. And this is a smooth climber. This climbs super smooth. There's nothing crazy. Even through this whole experience, I've taken 2 to 3 pills. I never had an increased heart rate or anything like that. But there is, at 45 to 50 minutes, it gives you the sense that you should have been moving if you're sitting around, because you got this underlined like kind of anxious feeling. And it's not anxiety, but an anxious central nervous system's been hit and tapped and spiked. So there's like a little shaky feeling like you should be moving. Now, if you're working out, you're not going to feel it. But if you're sitting around, you will feel it. So my advice is this is not just your typical, 2 pills and 2 pills type fat burner that you can take throughout the day, every single day. This is a fat burner for working out. Now you can try a 1 pill and 1 pill. You can try your hand at 2 pills and 2 pills and see if you can tolerate this in your central nervous system over a period of time. But this is a fantastic addition to someone who does basic cardio. Let's say you do cardio sessions and you're not training. And even if you're training, you can put a pump formula on this. But if you're doing cardio and you want some energy for cardio, you take 2 of these and this will get you flying through your cardio session. Now the effects on this is a nootropic bubble hit. Like you're stepping in and out of a nootropic bubble as you're focusing. So this dials you into a productive kind of workout and training session to where you almost become into a bubble because you're just seriously dialed into what you're doing, thought process, music, whatever. And once you fall into that, you're in your own little world and you're in a bubble. This is off of 2 pills. So imagine what 3 and 4 pills is going to do for you. Now, the energy response on this, like I said, was not, I don't know if I said this, but it was not kind of like crazy insane. I didn't get any crazy heartbeat, no palpitations, no nothing like that. It was a smooth energy response. 2 pills is going to keep you going and awake for 2 hours. It's going to fade off after that for another 2 hours. And you're going to be good to go on the day. Like I had no crashing on this. This is smooth coming off of it. As far as the diuretic effects, you're going to sweat. As far as the fat loss, I don't rely on these, and you shouldn't too, as far as for your fat loss goals. Like this is a magic pill. I'm sure you've heard this before, but make sure you're dialed into your nutrition and your training, and don't rely on this. Rely on this to get you moving, get you in there, get you knocking out a workout, moving just consistently to spike your metabolic rate for that workout and for the rest of the day. We'll see you guys next time on the channel.